gogonihon.com Live and Study in Japan.
I'm the international team manager here at Nihon. Just a little bit of background about myself. I'm originally from the United States. I'm not Japanese, but I did come to Japan to learn Japanese because people always ask me all the time, why did you come to Japan? Why did you want to study Japanese? And the answer is really quite simple. As a kid, much like a lot of you, I was very into Japanese animation and manga and games and things of that sort. So even when I was very young, all throughout going to high school, university, and beyond, I always wanted to learn Japanese and study Japanese, and that's where we are now. So let's get started with imagining your life in Japan. Pretty much, if you've ever wanted to learn Japanese, if you've ever been interested in Japanese anime, Japanese manga, Japanese games, J-pop, anything of that sort, you've pretty much probably already thought about living and studying in Japan. And what we believe here at Nihon is that a language school in Japan, a Japanese language school in Japan, is basically the key to Japan. Pretty much if you guys have ever thought about studying Japanese, I'm pretty sure you're already familiar with online programs such as Rosetta Stone and things like that. But let me tell you right now, Rosetta Stone, I'm sure you guys have already tried it, is not very good. I personally started with Rosetta Stone myself, and I thought the program was pretty garbage. So what we believe here is that Japanese language school, going to Japanese language school and going into a full immersion program, which means having to use Japanese all the time, 24/7 in Japan, is pretty much the only way to learn Japanese. So basically we offer two different types of study. The first one here is a short-term study from anywhere between 1 week to up to 3 months. It's basically for people that want to come here and just get basically a crash course in Japanese. You don't have too much time, you're here, you have a summer vacation or something like that, and you just want a crash course study, and so that's why our short-term study is very, very key for that. But let's say you are committed, you want to go jump right into it, whether or not you've been to Japan yet or not, it doesn't matter, you are ready to go, you want to fully commit to learning Japanese and living in Japan for the rest of your life. We highly recommend applying for a long-term study, which means you can study Japanese from at least 6 months to up to 2 years. The two main requirements is that you need high school to have graduated from at least high school and to be at least 18 years of age by the time you start. One of the benefits, a few of the benefits of coming to Japan as a long-term student is that you can work part-time and you have the ability to sign contracts. For example, you can get a mobile phone, sign up for health insurance, and things like that. And of course, at the end of your studies, you have the possibility to extend your stay. You can, move on to higher education if you'd like, or you can also find full-time employment if you already have a degree in higher education. So, common questions. How do I find a good language school? How can I find a place to live in Japan? How do I get the visa? And how much is this all going to cost? And that's probably the biggest question mark that you have. So you might have all of those questions and a lot more, because we understand here at Nihon that it is a very, very complicated process to basically move your life from where you are now to Japan. So we understand that there are a lot of different questions and concerns, and the fact that you might be scared of undergoing such a huge change in your life. And that's where we come in. We provide a complete solution to live and study in Japan. We basically provide you with these four main things. We help you with the school, we help you with accommodation, we help you, with the visa application process so that you don't have to worry about a thing at all with, potential paperwork missteps and things like that. And we also help you to deal with the cost, to answer any questions that you might have on how much all of this is going to cost. So, let's just talk about our schools. If you've been to our page, you know that we partner with a bunch of different language schools in Japan. But if you've ever Googled, and if you've ever already done a little bit of research about language schools in Japan, you might have gone on Google, you typed in language study in Japan, and you've gotten a bunch of different hits, maybe hundreds of pages of different schools in Japan. And all of them say, hey, we're the best. No, we're the best. No, we're the best, and we're the best, and things like that. But we know at Go Nihon that that's actually not the case. All of these different schools may say that they're the best, but we have we have full experience in actually visiting the schools, and we have received feedback from students, current and past, and we make sure that our hand-picked schools are the perfect schools for you. So that way you can find the perfect fit. Like I mentioned before, all of these different schools are going to be saying, we're the best school in Japan, so on and so forth. But in reality, there's a lot of different schools that are good for different reasons. For example, there are schools that are good for if you want to move on to higher education in Japan. But that particular school might not be good if you want to find full-time employment in Japan and things like that. So we have extensive knowledge on each school and if they match your needs. Basically, you're a student and you really want to go to university in Japan. We can tell you which school is the best for that. Or for example, you already have a degree in higher education and you want to find full-time employment in Japan. We can recommend a school that is perfect for that so that you can learn business Japanese and to be able to succeed in interviews in Japanese. And that way we can recommend the best quality education for your needs. And like I mentioned before, we have personally visited each school and have interviewed students for feedback so that we know that the schools that we offer are the best in Japan. We offer schools pretty much all over Japan. Of course, we have the heavy hitters. We have Tokyo, Yokohama, Kyoto, and Osaka. And then we have a newly added school which we added earlier this year, which is located in Sapporo. If you hadn't checked out that video just yet, go ahead and check that out on our page. It's an amazing video. And we also have a school in Fukuoka, which is in southern Japan. And we also have 2 schools that aren't listed on our page. But if you are interested in more of a rural Japan, we highly recommend these 2 schools. So we've gone ahead and talked about the schools that we offer and how we offer pretty much the best schools in Japan because we know exactly what our students want out of a school. Plus, we've been able to track all of the feedback to make sure that all of the recent feedback and the past feedback are in line with what our students want. So let's go ahead and talk about accommodation. Basically, we take care of accommodation for you. Our accommodation search saves you a lot of time in doing research because when you are moving from your home country to come to Japan, you are basically not going to know anything about different types of things about accommodation. And if you've ever done a Google search about living in Japan, you might have heard a lot of different horror stories about having to pay key money, ridiculous amounts of deposit, things like that. But with our accommodation search and with our partners, we help you to make sure it is as painless as possible. We have hand-picked high-quality accommodation options. Much like our schools, we make sure that we constantly have feedback about our accommodation partners to make sure that they are the highest of quality. And we partner with landlords that you can trust, and we provide free support in the off chance that you might have some troubles with your accommodation. So we provide you support even after you come to Japan. So accommodation types. Basically, the 4 main accommodation types that we offer are private apartments, host families, share houses, and school dormitories. Let's talk a little bit about host families because in my personal opinion, host families are pretty much the best experience that you're going to get in Japan. You get to live with a Japanese family. You get a genuine Japanese cultural experience because you're going to be living with a Japanese family. You're going to be integrated into their daily life. And you're basically, because you have 2 meals a day included, you're pretty much going to be a part of the family, living with them, experiencing your life, just as a Japanese family would. And of course, your Japanese will improve much, much more quickly because, most of these families aren't going to be able to speak English that well. So you're going to have to, speak in Japanese to make sure that, you can communicate. You get your own private room. We offer host family options in virtually every city in Japan, and we have a 100% customer satisfaction. And the agency that we partner with for homestays is called Homestay in Japan. And what is Homestay in Japan? Basically, when you want a homestay, we send you a questionnaire to basically, get all of the options or things that you want in a host family, or any limitations, dietary requirements, things like that, to try to get a perfect host family for you. You can stay as short as 2 days, and you can receive a discount for staying for 3 months or more. And you can travel and explore Japan with your Japanese family because, like I said, you are going to be integrated into their family, so they're going to want to take you to all these different places, show you a lot of different cool things. The share house option is also an option that's available, which I believe is the most cost effective. And you kind of get the best of both worlds. If you are worried about cost, this is what you're going to be looking at, share houses, because they are the cheapest option. And also you get to live in share houses that also have Japanese tenants, which is going to be very, very important. Share houses usually have tenants from people from all around the world, plus Japanese tenants. A lot of houses have 50% Japanese tenants, so that when you do come home, at the end of the day, you are going to be hanging out with people from all over the world, plus a lot of Japanese people, so that you are able to use your Japanese. And it is a great balance between cost and comfort, and shared and private rooms are available. But because this is Japan, I've got to warn you before you come that the room sizes and the house sizes are going to be a lot smaller than if you are, for example, you are used to living in the US. Here is a desk in a private room. Like I said, don't get too used to big, wide open spaces. But at the same time, it is very, very cozy, and it's going to be the best balance between cost and comfort. Here is a shared living room. Like I said, very, very cozy. Shared kitchen area. All right, the next accommodation option that is available is the school dormitories. Unfortunately, school dormitories are not available at every single school. So if you are most interested in staying at a school dormitory, please let us know. This accommodation option is located the closest to the school, of course. It is the cheapest option, and because it's the cheapest option, it's not always the best quality, but it is the cheapest option. It is located very close to the school, so it is still a very great option. Many people share the same facilities because it is a school dormitory, and unlike the share house option, you are not going to be able to live with any Japanese tenants at a school dormitory. So to recap, basically we offer accommodation available that's all over Japan. If you tell us what you're looking for, we can definitely help you out the best we can to find you the accommodation option that you want the most. So moving right along, the next thing that we're going to be talking about is the visa, which is probably the most important part. Because if you want to stay in Japan long term, you gotta get your visa. And if you do not, you don't have a choice on whether or not you want to come long term or not. But of course, if you are going to be studying short term, you don't need a visa. If you are coming to Japan on a short-term study, depending on what country you're from, you may or may not have to apply for a visa for a tourist exemption. A tourist visa, sorry. But if you are like myself and you are from the US, you have up to 90 days of visa-free travel. So if you are coming as a short-term student, you don't need to apply for a visa. However, if you are studying for 6 months or more, you are definitely going to have to apply for a student visa. And basically what we do is we help you with the visa application. Because the visa application is actually it's very complicated, but our application process is completely in English. For example, if you wanted to apply directly to the school, and let me tell you a story about myself, is when I was initially trying to apply for a Japanese language school in Japan, before I had even heard about Gogo Nihon, I contacted a few schools. I contacted a school and I said, hey look, I want to apply for a school. I want to apply for your school. Can you send me the application documents? They send me the application documents, and mind you, at this point I hadn't studied Japanese at all, but I'm looking through the application documents, and half of it was in Japanese, which for a beginner, or an absolute beginner at Japanese, to have half of your application to come to Japan be half in Japanese makes absolutely no sense. Which is exactly why our application process is completely in English. And not just that, our application process is simple and it's completely done online. How it works is very simple. It's you, the student, sends us the applications here at Gogo Nihon, and we send it to the school. It's very, very simple. And basically what we do in our step is we make sure that everything is correct, everything is, basically squared away so that, you have no problems getting to this stage. We make sure, we get rid of all of the headaches that you may have. So what does this mean? It basically means that we give you the highest possible chance for acceptance. For example, you may be an older student, because if you are over 30, there's a higher possibility that Japanese immigration might be a little bit more strict on your application. But because we have experience dealing with those types of applications, we make sure to give you the highest possible chance for acceptance. And we help you contact the school directly. Because we have experience in being able to deal with all of the potential questions, and because like myself, I'm a native English speaker, I'm from the US, at the school they may or may not have a native English speaker, they may or may not have someone that speaks your language, but here at Gogo Nihon we make sure that nothing gets lost in translation. For example, let's say you didn't graduate from high school, but you got your GED, you have your high school equivalency, and you wanted to apply to a Japanese language school. Some Japanese language schools have no idea what a GED is, but we do, and we make sure to tell them, exactly, hey, look, a GED is high school equivalency. You don't have to worry about it. This student is A-okay, good to go. But there's one thing that we need to mention is that, unfortunately, we're not able to help, students from all around the world as much as we would like to. What we work off is off of the MOFA list. There are strict immigration procedures for certain countries. There are certain countries that are not on the MOFA list that we still help anyway. Many countries have a tourist visa exemptions for Japan, but if yours does not, we may or may not be able to help you. But please send us an inquiry and we'll try to see if we can help you out or not. So, moving right along, I guess we're going to be talking about the most important part here, which is how much is this going to cost? This is pretty much, the burning question that you guys all have. So let's talk about potential costs. So potential costs are going to be, the school tuition, accommodation, transportation within Japan and to Japan, having fun, which for some is actually the biggest potential cost, the exchange rate, and food, so various living expenses. So let's look at a few, average prices in Japan. Lunch in Japan is about 600 yen, which is about $5 US. Average mug of beer, 400 yen, which is about $3.34. Transportation from Akihabara to Shibuya. If you've ever been to Japan before, you know that Akihabara is on the east side of Tokyo and Shibuya is more on the west side. They're pretty much basically right up opposite of each other, and you can get to one another, from both distances for less than $2. So for about $1.67. And you can also get round-trip airfare from Tokyo to Osaka. Of course, this is not always, but if you can catch a good deal, it's about $80. And we used a 120 to $1 USD exchange rate. If you've been following the exchange rate recently, it's been the Japanese yen has been getting a lot weaker. So right now is a fantastic time for you guys to come to Japan. If you had wanted to come to Japan, let's say maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, it would have been 20% more expensive to come to Japan. But because of this exchange rate right now, you really want to take advantage of this. It is 20% cheaper than it would have been a year ago for you to come to Japan right now. So I highly recommend that you take advantage of this exchange rate. So what about the numbers? Basically, the only estimate that we can give you, because everybody's style of living is widely different, is that Japanese immigration estimates that 6 months of full-time study in Japan costs about 1 million yen. Normally, we would say that 1 million yen is about 10,000 US dollars. However, due to the exchange rate, it's a lot closer to 8,500 US dollars. Like I said, right now is the best time to come to Japan. But for example, you say, hey, look, I can't afford that. What you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to use a financial sponsor, which is usually a relative or a parent that says, hey, look, I'm going to be, financially responsible for this student and take care of it. And, basically that's what you're going to have to do. And one of the benefits of coming here as on a student visa is that you get a work permit on the spot. That means the moment you land at the airport, you are already allowed to work part-time up to 28 hours a week. So, let's talk about working in Japan. So this is specifically, I guess, for part-time work. For part-time work while you were studying Japanese, you can work at a cafe or a restaurant, a convenience store. Language teachers actually are the most popular option, just because you don't have to know any Japanese in order to teach, for example, English or Spanish or French or whatever have you. And of course, you also have other different options available. You can be a talent. You can do modeling. We have a lot of our former students that have done modeling, have been interviewed on TV. Some students have actually come to Japan to DJ, things like that. So once you are in Japan on a long-term visa, the possibilities are endless. And one of the best things about coming to Japan on a long-term visa is health insurance. If you are from the US, much like myself, healthcare costs are absolutely ridiculous. But one of the best things about Japan is that the national health insurance covers 70% of all of your health expenses. For example, if you get sick, you have the flu, or you have you have a tummy ache or something like that, and you want to visit the doctor, you go to the doctor. An average doctor visit is about 1,000 yen, which is about like $8. And that's including medication, prescription medication. You see the doctor, you talk to the doctor, and you get medication. You get all of that for pretty much under $10. And your premium monthly for the health insurance is about 1,500 yen, which is about like $13 a month. So I'm not saying that you should come here if you're sick, but this is a very, very, compelling argument to come to Japan to live long term. So in the end, basically the cost, it depends all on you. We can't tell you how much everything is going to cost, because you can be a type of person that stays at home, lives very frugally, and doesn't spend that much money. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, you can be someone that goes out and parties a lot and does all of these things. So because of that, we're not able to give you an estimate. But based off of all of these figures and numbers that we've given you, you can go ahead and make your own estimates. So we've covered the 4 main topics that we wanted to cover today. We handpick our schools to make sure that our schools are the best in Japan. We help you with accommodation. We remove the headache from the process so that you definitely have a place to stay in Japan when you arrive. We help you with the visa, because if you are coming to Japan as a long-term student, you're definitely going to be needing a visa. And we've told you some figures and things that you can use to estimate how much everything is going to cost. So, how much do you charge for this awesome service? You might be wondering. We don't have any hidden fees whatsoever, and we are completely free of charge. We do not charge anything for our service. We are 100% free, and we get this question all the time, that how can you offer this service for nothing? Like what do you guys get out of it? Or like this sounds too good to be true. This is super fishy. Like, what's wrong with you guys, pretty much. And what we can tell you is that we are sponsored by the schools to help you guys out. If you guys are worried that we're not legit, you can go ahead and send an email to the schools and be like, hey, do you guys really partner with Gogo Nihon, or if are they really legit and they'll back us 100%? We've been working with them for a few years now, and we've had nothing but successes. So they would be more than happy to tell you that we are legit. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about us. We were founded by students, for students. Our two co-founders actually attended one of our language schools, and while attending language school, they came up with the idea of Gogo Nihon because they knew themselves that applying to language schools in Japan was such a huge pain in the butt. So they were like, hey look, we just want to help out students because we were students, and that's pretty much how Gogo Nihon was founded. Last year we helped about more than 500 students successfully enroll in language programs. That was last year. This year we've helped more than 700 students. So we are pretty much blowing up, and as you can tell, from 500 to 700 each year, we're getting bigger and bigger. So we offer this incredible service that you guys can definitely trust. And we have an international staff. As you can see from our staff page, we have basically staff from all around the world. And we are based in Tokyo, so if you are ever in town, feel free to come and say hello. And one of the best things that we offer, if you haven't been to Japan yet, is our Gogo Nihon summer course. Pretty much what our summer course is that we offer about 3.5 hours of Japanese language, intensive Japanese language study in the mornings, and then depending on the day, there are certain cultural activities planned. And there are a lot of different cultural activities included. For example, we have visits to Akihabara, Harajuku, Shibuya, and various other things. For example, here is a sample of a week that on our summer course. Like I said, you have intensive Japanese study in the morning, and depending on the day, you have various different events available to you. And our summer course is completely customizable so that you are able to pick and choose pretty much what you want. Of course, there's a base fee that includes the school and your accommodation and a free activity or two per week, but everything else is completely customizable.
The summer course has been one of the greatest things in my life.
I like Gogo Nihon summer course because it allows me to interact with people from all over the world.
Ovviamente mi piace tutto del summer course. It had activities and basically gives me a taste of what Japan is all about.
Super sportif pour les activités.
I really like how a lot of people from around the world are gathered in one place.
Abbiamo fatto un sacco di attività comunque interessanti per conoscere anche meglio la cultura giapponese. Las actividades están geniales, puedes conocer la mayoría de Tokio en pocos días.
We have a common interest where we all get to communicate with each other and it's fun to learn.
Att lära dig japanska är väldigt kul. Lektionerna var riktigt roliga och lärarna är helt härliga på Accommodation.
I wanted to meet new people, not necessarily just Japanese people, but people from all over the world.
I really enjoy the karaoke events because that is a time where everybody can come and really have a good time.
Sommarkursen ger dig i princip ett smak utav Japan.
Lo que más me gustó fue, yo creo que el Hanabi, el festival de fuegos artificiales está increíble, la vista está padrissima. Comunque in giapponese dicono uguali poi abbiamo questa amicizia magari con Facebook.
If it's their first time to be in Japan, this is a good way to learn about Japanese customs and ethnics, and also learn a bit of the language at the same time.
Var riktigt roligt, det är nog det bästa jag gjort i hela mitt liv.
De verdad lo recomiendo muchísimo, vengan al siguiente año, no se van a arrepentir.
It's an absolutely wonderful way to get to meet a lot of people.
It's amazing. I'm glad that I took this course.
It's not just school, it's not just the classes, it's not just about going to the normal tourist places, but it's about making your own kind of experience.
But it's a really good way to sort of get out here and be comfortable being yourself and just enjoy everything that Japan's got.
So another one of the things that we offer here at Gogo Nihon is we throw a lot of different events for our students. We make sure that not just with picking a school and finding accommodation, we make sure that you have every single opportunity to meet Japanese locals and other students. So because we want to make sure that you are able to build this kind of network within Japan, which we like to call the Gogo Nihon network. Because if you are coming here from a different country, you may or may not have a tough time meeting new people, making friends. Because of that, we want to make sure that all of our students are as comfortable as possible here, even after you come to Japan. Because of that, we offer a lot of different activities so that you are able to meet and make friends with people in your area. So this particular event is our Hanami event, our cherry blossom event that we have every spring. Here is a summer barbecue event. Here is our futsal event that we have quite often for our students, plus a lot of Japanese people as well. Here's a photo of one of our other international events that we hold quite often as well. As you can see, a very, very good mix of different types of people from all over the place. And we also like to invite our friends, friends of Gogo Nihon, who want to go ahead and show off a special skill or do some sort of dance. For example, friends of Gogo Nihon showing us belly dance came to perform for us. We have the shamisen performances here, plus a band performance here as well. So yeah, we like to throw a lot of these events in Japan to make sure that you are comfortable here and you're able to meet a lot of different people and make friends because that's pretty much what coming to Japan is all about. We're going to be introducing a few schools to you. The first school that we'd like to introduce to you today is Kai Japanese Language School, which is located in Shin-Okubo, Tokyo. If you don't know where that is actually one stop north of Shinjuku. So it is very, very close to Shinjuku, walking distance actually, about 10 minutes. So it's it's in a great location. I'd like to go ahead and show you some photos of the school. As you can see, it's a pretty small class size here, so you do get a more personal feel.
Konnichiwa from Gogo Nihon. Today we are going to introduce to you Kai Japanese Language School, located in Shin-Okubo, Tokyo. Let's go inside and take a look at what makes this school so special.
新しい言葉がどんどんあります。これは動詞は靴を履きます。そうです。靴を履きますと出てきました。
Mostly I like that the teachers are extremely friendly. A lot of their school material is made by themselves, so it makes it easier to study with their own material, and they explain it very good.
It's not just a teacher, the staff, they're wonderful. They understand you, they really help you a lot, and they care for you.
We think that the communication is very important. We have the Facebook private group, staff and the teacher and only Kai students can join. And we use that, we make some announcement, kind of internal announcement.
タラジンの友達日本に引っ越して会日本語スクールで勉強してました。彼がすごく上手になったから説明してくれたので、
学生それぞれに自分の国のニュースを持ってきてもらって、それを発表してディスカッションというような授業をしています。
学生からも授業に対して、学生にアンケートをしてリクエストが来たりするので、そのリクエストにできるだけ答えられるような授業のスタイルに変えたりとか、
そうただ教えるのではなくって、やっぱり学生たちと一緒に作っていく、やっぱりそこを大事にしているから、
毎回やっぱり
こういうのをやってみようっていうのを学生と一緒に楽しめるっていうようなところもありますね。
授業は一般的に10人ぐらいだから本当にとてもいいだと思います。So it's not really crowded and everyone has the chance to speak and the chance to participate. Really, our class is really international. We have students from all over the world. For example, we have people from Spain, from Italy, from Sweden, but not only Europe, but China and Korea too.
他の人の意見をじっくり聞くことができるっていうのはとてもいい点だと思いますし、ディスカッションに限らず他の授業でも質問することがやっぱり 他の人に遠慮することなくできるのかなと思いますし、
学習環境というのもとても大事だと思ってるんですけれども、例えばこの学校の壁の色はただの病院のような真っ白い壁ではなくていろんな色を使っています。でこういうふうにその環境から刺激を受けること。
Shikokubo is an interesting place. I mean, it's convenient. It's close to Shinjuku, which is a big city. You can pretty much walk to Shinjuku. They call it the Korean town. So, I mean, you come to Japan, but you also get to experience Korean food and Korean culture.
For me, I really like K-pop and Korean culture as well. So when I came here and found out that school actually is in Koreatown, I was actually very happy about that. K-pop, here it comes! Ta-da! 2 a.m. I saw them live. I really like it here.
I hope you guys enjoyed our video introducing Kai. We actually have a very special guest here with us today. We have Yo-san from Kai Japanese Language School, and he is going to be talking a little bit more about the school. Yo-san?
Thank you. This is Muneza Yo. I'm the school administrative director at Kai Japanese Language School. I want to talk about our school a little bit. The biggest difference of our school is that we have a lot of students from European countries and Westerners, I mean. About 60% is from Europe and maybe more than 10 from America or Canada or English-speaking countries. So our curriculum is specially designed to the Westerners, especially who don't really have the Chinese characters. So I understand that most of you have a lot of difficulties to learn kanji, but we are now using the digital material for you to understand and memorize the kanji very easily. So as I said, we create the original material. From the beginner level, we use the original material, and in the intermediate level, we use some commercial materials as well. But in the advanced level, we use the live material like the newspaper or the TV news or internet, etc., to make you the presentation or something like that. Our focus is to improve the students' verbal ability, communicational Japanese skills. So our curriculum is especially designed for that. Let's see. Anything else?
So basically, to recap, Kai is actually one of our, the schools that we highly recommend to students that come from Western background, especially for students from, like myself, from the U.S. That do not have any kanji background, so on and so forth. We highly recommend that, if you do not have a kanji background or you're unfamiliar with, studying Chinese characters, Kai is very, very strong for that. We highly recommend Kai, and like Yo-san mentioned, they are very, very more verbal communication focused than our other schools. So if you are interested in being able to speak and listen Japanese at a high level, we highly recommend Kai Japanese Language School.
Thank you. I want to add one more thing. As I said, we create the own material, and recently we started the kind of reverse lessons, which means that we offer the digital material on the internet, and the students learn that material before they come to class, so that the instructors have a very shorter time to explain that material or the grammar points or vocabulary, but instead they can spend more time to practice verbal communication kind of stuff. So I think that's that scheme for you is kind of tough because you have to learn first by yourself. But for us, it may be it's more efficient for you to improve your own ability.
All right, so we actually have another special guest here for you today. This is, if you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself and where you are from.
Okay, I am Chiara and I'm from Italy.
From Italy, okay. So, could you please tell us why you came to Japan?
I came to Japan because I studied Japanese at university. I have a strong interest in Japan and Japan culture and Japan people and their way of thinking, so I decided to come here to search for a job. Of course, now I'm studying, but I'm searching for a job and I want to create a future here in Japan.
Okay, so basically the perfect Gogo Nihon student.
Of course.
So,
I'll try to make it more interesting.
Exactly. So can you please tell us a little bit more about Kai?
Kai is a great school.
Okay.
Because one of the reason I think is really good. It's because classes are really small.
Okay.
So you have the chance to speak a lot.
Okay.
With the teacher, of course, and other students, of course, everything, like all the time in Japanese. And it's a really good exercise. I came here and I really didn't know how to speak Japanese. I had a good basis of grammar, etc., but I couldn't speak at all. When I came to Kai, it really got better because I had the chance to really speak, improve my speaking skills.
So, I mean, when you did study Japanese at university and studying now at Kai, you would say Kai is a lot better for your language school.
Yeah, exactly, because you speak they throw you into the reality of Japan and Japanese language.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, let's just, walk me through a regular day in Japan for you. What do you do? A regular day in Japan.
Okay, I wake up in the morning.
Okay.
I have breakfast. I study, I go to school. Now my lessons are in the afternoon, but there are even lessons in the morning. After school, it depends. I have a kind of part-time job, so sometimes I go working, or sometimes I just came back, go home and study and eat. And I live in a share house, so we are having a lot of parties at night. So yeah, we just stay all together.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about your part-time job? What do you do?
I am an Italian teacher.
Okay.
I teach Italian to Japanese, and yeah, I just do it 4 times per week.
Okay.
And it's really interesting because...
And it was pretty easy to find, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Part-time job is really easy to find.
Okay.
Especially if you can, if you have the basis of Japanese, it's really easy to find.
Okay, great. So what has been the most interesting thing that you've done since coming to Japan?
Oh, well, that's a good question because Japanese, Tokyo is interesting. Everything is interesting.
Right.
I would say every weekend when I gather with my Japanese or Italian friends, we all go to a new izakaya every weekend, and every time is a good experience because it's new place, new environment, new food, etc. So I would say any weekend is special.
Okay, great answer. Great answer. Okay, can you just tell us a little bit more about your experience with Gogo Nihon and how you found out about us?
I found about Gogo Nihon in Italy when I was in Italy, and I was studying at university because they made a presentation in Italian in my university. And after I graduated, I decided to contact them, and they gave me all the information necessary to come here in Japan. That's it. It's really easy, just an email and they'll answer you.
And we were free, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all free.
So you don't have to worry.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have anything else that you'd like to say to our viewers? Anything else that you'd like to add except Kai is great and Tokyo is the best?
I don't know, maybe at first it might be really difficult thinking to move in Japan because it's expensive, of course, and you have a lot of problems in general with bureaucracy, etc. But it's worth it, and so just try to do your best if you want to come here.
Okay, absolutely.
That's it.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to be introducing another language school to you guys. This is Accommodation Japanese Language School, which is located in Nippori. It is on the Yamanote line. This particular school is actually the biggest language school located in Tokyo. Sorry, excuse me. So they have they're very well known to be the biggest and one of the best. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to you a little bit about Accommodation. They are a high-intensity language school, which means that the study pace is very fast. You get a lot of homework, and you basically have to be committed to your studies being first and everything else being second. They have a very rigid curriculum, so that you basically have to be, like I said, committed to the program, and you have to follow along. They have a specialized course for finding employment in Japan. Basically, if you do have a degree in higher education and you already have JLPT N2, they have a business course that is specialized for, guaranteeing that you will find full-time employment in Japan. So that's one of the special things about Accommodation. They have very affordable tuition and dormitory rates. This particular school, because they are the biggest, they are able to offer the most affordable tuition rates out of any of the schools in Japan. And like I mentioned before, it is the biggest school in Tokyo. And it is conveniently located on the Yamanote line. So if you are, for example, staying at the dormitory, it is located on the Yamanote line, which makes a ring around Tokyo, and it is super affordable to stay there. So if you are looking for a high-intensity program and you are looking for something that is more budget-friendly, you are definitely looking at Accommodation.
性格が優しいかどうか聞きたいです。答えますかね。あなたの性格は優しいですか。優しいですよ。
この学校の雰囲気はどうですか？
いいですね。なんか勉強に支える雰囲気がありますね。サポートしている先生方とスタッフはありがたいです。
私どもアッカーモン会日本語学校はですね、1985年に設立しました。で今まで今年26年目になりますが、およそ約1万5000人以上の卒業生を輩出してきました。現在日本語を学んでいる学生さんが約3名、17カ国の学生さんが日本で勉強しています。
Nippori is a very convenient location. First of all, as Nippori Station is located on the Yamanote line, you can go pretty much everywhere in less than 30 minutes. So you could go in Akihabara or Ikebukuro in about 10 minutes. You could go in Shinjuku in less than 20 minutes. Even Harajuku or Shibuya could be reached in less than 30 minutes.
一番の良いところは事務室だと思います。
アルバイト探しては検索するっていうのが難しいので、一緒にインターネットの前でどういうサイトがあって検索を探してあげたりとか、私は個人的にはそういうことをしています。英語圏ですと日本人のスタッフもできる方がいるので、何でも事務としてはいつでも質問しやすい雰囲気を作るようにして、学生にはこちらからも声をかけるようにして気を配っております。
さあ、ここまで何か質問はありますか？大丈夫かな？はい、じゃあ皆さんちょっと教科書を見てください。27ページです。
全体的に多分学生たちと先生たちの交流っていうのが多くされている学校だと思うので、関係はすごくいいと思います。休み時間でも先生たちと会話をする学生が多くいますので、全体的には賑やかな雰囲気なんだと思います。
居眠りって何？スリーピング。そうだけど寝てはいけない時に寝てしまうこと？
先生は授業の時すごく真面目で、毎日の宿題とかテストがいっぱいあるので、これはすごくいいところと思います。
入った時は全然漢字もわからなかったし、今はもう会話とか一般的な会話全部できるし、ドラマとか映画も字幕なしで見るようになりました。
I knew I wanted to come to Japan. The tuition fee wasn't too expensive.
先生の打ち方が分かりやすいです。
勉強するとき家族みたいな感じ。毎日幸せですね。
で駅から降りても赤門会まで歩いて1分ぐらいだから本当に便利だし、すぐ近くにコンビニもあって、はい、
この島国に来てあなたの生活を変えてみませんか。
All right, so we have another guest with us here today. If you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Michael Skripczak. I'm from Texas, Houston, Texas.
Okay.
And I came to Japan in January.
January this year?
This year. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Great. Tell us, why did you decide to come to Japan?
Actually, yeah, it's kind of funny. About 2 years ago, I came here with my mom and her boyfriend on just a normal vacation trip, just for 3 days.
Just randomly?
Yeah, randomly. We're just
Okay.
like, let's go to Asia. So we actually were going to Thailand, and we passed through Japan. And I mean, I wasn't really interested too much in Japanese culture or anything. I didn't really know anything about it. But we came here, and we like went all around Tokyo in those 3 days, and I really loved it. So I decided this would be a cool place to live.
Okay.
So when I decided to go through Gogo Nihon, and when I first came to Japan, I think I was only scheduled to be here for 3 months, and now like it's already been almost a year.
Yeah.
And I'm planning at least another year.
Okay.
And hopefully finding a full-time job.
Awesome.
Staying here.
Awesome.
Forever. Yeah.
So you're actually one of the rare cases that didn't have an interest in Japan prior to, just randomly coming here pretty much.
Everybody's like, oh, you must love anime and
Right.
like other stuff, sushi and all that stuff, and it's like, oh, that's okay. I mean, when I was little, I watched Dragon Ball Z, but that's it.
I mean, apart from that.
Apart from that, like
Right.
I didn't know anything.
So it was just like that trip for 3 days 2 years ago, and that was like.
I was actually before that, I was actually thinking about China.
Okay.
I was doing research on that, and then I came here, and I was like, nope, Japan.
Okay, well, I think you made the right choice.
I think so.
Honestly. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit more about Accommodation, where you're studying?
Accommodation, like you said before, it's in Nippori. Really affordable, really cheap. The staff there is really helpful. Let's see, I actually met with them last week, and they told me they're helping me set up for a career fair this weekend.
Okay.
So on Saturday I'll be going to some career fair.
Okay.
And let's see, they help with all the job
Right.
and stuff. So they help me look for jobs and whatnot, and so.
Okay, so I mean, it seems like the school is very, very, focused on helping you find and preparing you for, what your goals are, which is, in your case, finding full-time employment.
Yes.
Okay, so they've been helping you out with the interview process and signing up and filling out the entry sheets and things like that, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
and
great.
they also speak English, so.
Okay.
They have like staff for every language. So.
Okay, perfect. Okay, sounds like they're really helping you out a lot then.
Yes.
Okay. So, run us through a regular day in Japan for you. What's a regular day look like?
A lot of studying.
A lot of studying.
Too much studying.
Because it's a high intensity school. It's what you sign up for.
It's really high intensity. When I first came here, I was like, oh, I'm going to really, I'll get out a lot. And I do get out a lot. On weekends, well, right now I have a part-time job, so I do work a lot. But I still do get out a lot too and enjoy myself. But on weekdays, definitely I go to school early and I study in the library, and I study a lot. They give us homework every day,
Right,
so
of course.
The studies are first, and it's definitely really fast.
Right,
So,
it's a high intensity program, it's a fast program. It's what you signed up for, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm sure, because it's a high intensity program, your Japanese is getting a lot better, for example, than if you went to a lesser intensity school.
I hope.
Yeah. Okay, you mentioned that you did currently have a part-time job. Can you go ahead and tell us about that?
Oh yeah, sure. Actually, do you know Craigslist?
Yes.
Yes, I actually was looking on Craigslist. There's a few websites and whatnot, and the school actually helped me. They're like, okay, look at these companies and whatnot. So I applied to some different schools, but I actually found my job because I actually didn't have any experience. There's a lot of English teaching jobs, and I had no experience teaching English, so I went on Craigslist, and on there someone was like, oh, it's a new English school, and no experience required. So I went to that, and I got a job, so I've been working there for about 8 months now.
Okay, so pretty,
7 months.
so that means you found that job almost, pretty much immediately after you came, kind of.
Probably 2 or 3 months after.
2 or 3 months, okay.
So.
I mean, going from no experience to doing something like that after 3 months, it's not bad.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay, so would you say that finding a part-time job in Japan is easy? It's.
I mean, it depends what you're looking for, but it's pretty easy, I thought. Like,
okay. Okay, great. What has been the most interesting thing that you've done since coming to Japan?
Difficult to say. There's a lot of stuff here, but
especially in Tokyo, there's a lot of different things.
Yeah, I really like Shibuya.
Okay.
So, in America, I'm not a party type person at all. Like I didn't like going out drinking, all that stuff. But here, it's like a whole different scene. So, I really enjoy it here. And there's a couple times where you go to a club. And since the trains are, they're...
Yeah, you're pretty much locked into
you have to stay there until the morning train. So I would go there at midnight, the trains would stop and party or whatever until 5 in the morning, and then take the first train. And I remember the first time I went clubbing, I guess I went overboard.
Okay.
And I remember getting lost in Shibuya, and I ended up on the Yamanote line. And I was one of those people that fell asleep on the train, and I went around 2 times, so 2 hours on the train until.
So basically, basically, what you can take away from this is that you can definitely do this kind of stuff as long as you keep up with your schoolwork.
Yes, and it's really safe too. Like, I feel like in America, especially if you fall asleep, like let's say you're in New York or something, and you're on the subway and you fall asleep for 2 hours. Maybe someone will take your wallet or your phone, but here it's just like I fall asleep and my backpack is in my lap and I'm just asleep in the chair, and people just whatever, like let them sleep.
I mean, one of the safest countries in the world.
Exactly. So.
Okay, great. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience with Gogo Nihon and how you found out about this?
So when I first was looking for Japanese language school, I mean, I just went to Google and I was looking for different...
Of course, it's what everybody does initially.
Exactly, but I found Gogo Nihon. They help with all the recruiting for a bunch of different schools, so I checked you guys out, sent you an email, and you're the one that helped me. So
guilty.
And like I told you before this, I think, was it like about 200 emails back and forth, and then finally like got all the details, everything set in stone, and everything completely clarified, and then I came here.
Okay.
So no problems.
All right. So positive experience?
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you very much for sharing your opinions with us. What's going to happen now is we're going to introduce one final school to you guys, and then we are going to be doing our Q&A session, so please sit tight. Okay, so we have one last and final school to introduce to you guys. This particular school is called Intercultural Institute, which is located in Akihabara, Tokyo. I'm pretty sure you guys know where that is. I'm going to go ahead and show you a few photos from the school. Here are a few photos, a very good mix of different nationalities at this particular school. And Intercultural Institute is a medium intensity school, which means it gives you that perfect balance between study pace, homework, and free time, so that you have that perfect balance, so that you can, be serious about studying, but at the same time have enough free time to find a part-time job or to go hang out with friends if you'd like. And of course, it's located near the famous Akihabara, which is the electric town of Tokyo. And this particular school also has experience in teaching Western students, and they have a very friendly and inviting atmosphere. And one of the best things about this particular school is that they do offer short-term courses, in the form of weekly courses that you can basically start at the beginning of any week. So that if you are a short-term student, you can go ahead and pick a random week out of the month and come to Japan and basically study depending on your level. We're going to go ahead and show you a quick video, and then we have another special guest, another student from the school, for another Q&A session.
GoGoNihon.com Live and Study in Japan.
Konnichiwa from Gogo Nihon. Today we are in front of Interculture Institute of Japan, which is located right near Akihabara, famous for its electronics and otaku culture. We're sure that you're curious about how it's like studying so close to Akiba, so follow me and let's take a look.
皆さんおはようございます。今日はディベートの続きをしますね。ディベートの続きを。喧嘩はしないでくださいね。しないでくださいね。雰囲気、学校の雰囲気はやっぱり明るいですね、皆さん。で、もちろん明るいだけじゃなくて真面目な人もいますね。明るいのと真面目っていうのは一緒にミックスしている感じがしますね。ちょっとじゃあ戦ってみましょうか。
Oh, it's been great. Everyone here is very nice. When I got here, I couldn't speak a word of Japanese, and everyone helped me out with everything, not only the academic things, but with all what has to do with your just normal life, bank account, and whatever actually you would need. I could get the help from anyone here in the office.
La scuola insomma, si presta molto bene, sono contento, tutti gli insegnanti sono molto gentili, molto pazienti, specialmente con chi, ecco, con noi occidentali.
My goal is to be able to play games, read manga, and watch anime without any help at all. And read books, yeah. That's pretty much my goal. I think the teachers are great, we study at a great pace, and yeah, I really have no complaints. This is from the heart.
日本語の先生が日本語を教えられるっていうのは当たり前のことだと思っています。卒業した後、例えば日本のインターカルトで誰に習いましたかって言った時に聞かれた時に、私は何々先生に習いましたという名前を挙げてもらえるような先生になってほしいというふうにとても思っているし、そのように言っています。皆さんもどうぞ日本へいらしてください。そして私たちと一緒に新しい体験をたくさんしましょう。お待ちしております。
Okay, so we have our last and final special guest here, a student from Intercultural. If you'd like to go ahead and tell us your name and where you're from.
So my name is Megan Kelly and I'm from America.
Where specifically?
Los Angeles, California.
Okay, perfect. Me too.
Yay!
Represent. Okay, great. So can you please tell us why you decided to come to Japan?
Well, like most people, I saw anime when I was a very small child,
Right.
but then in university, I studied specifically Asian studies, focusing on Japan,
Okay.
and then I studied abroad here and decided I wanted to live here.
Okay. So you actually came to Japan to study abroad before you are for this time basically.
Yes, I studied abroad for a month in Tokyo when I was in university, and
Okay.
then I worked on the JET program for
Oh,
4 years.
okay.
And now I'm studying in
I see.
Akihabara.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So that means you were in Japan for 4 years before you started studying in Tokyo.
Yes.
Okay, and where were you?
Niigata Prefecture.
Okay, so
no one's heard of.
So basically, a very huge contrast between what you were doing for the past 4 years and what you're doing now.
Yes, I lived in rice paddies teaching English before.
Great. All right. So, can you please tell us more about your school?
So my school is full of people from all different places around the world, and there's like a good mix of like how intensive our studies are and how much they want us to have fun interacting with each other.
Okay.
So we'll spend like hours like studying kanji and studying grammar, but then we'll also have like talking sessions where we'll have to explain what our name means just to our classmates. So it's really fun, and like there's lots of it's not just textbook, it's also like real application of using the language.
Right. So, I mean, how would you say the best part of your school is? Like, what's the defining feature?
As like a former foreign language teacher, I would say just the amount that they make us use what we learn.
Okay.
They don't let us just sit there silently.
Right.
Like we have to interact with them, which like you can feel like an idiot when you're like, I have no idea what I'm trying to say, but it's really good for like improving your speaking ability, which is super important.
Right. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's pretty much because you were on the JET program, you know exactly how to teach a language and what works and what doesn't. And you pretty much said, this school knows what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely. I think so.
Okay, great. Can you tell us what a regular day in Japan is like for you?
For me, I'm in the afternoon session right now because they have morning classes and afternoon classes, so I don't have to be at school until like 1:30 in the afternoon.
Okay.
So I get up at like 10 in the morning and usually study whatever is going to be most relevant to the school day ahead of me.
Okay.
Then I go to school, and usually by then it's like pitch black and I have to walk home in the darkness.
Right.
And then I study a bit more, but then I try to make sure to do like other fun things so that I'm not only studying all the time.
Okay. What do you plan on doing when you transition to the morning class?
Cry, probably a lot. But no, then I'll study instead of like getting up early to like do self-study, I'll just do self-study after I'm done with classes.
Okay, awesome. Are you working part-time right now?
Not at the moment, but I haven't really looked because of different situations, but.
Okay. But when you do plan on looking, how would you say, how easy would it be to find a part-time job in your opinion?
Well, I mean, I would say it depends on what you want to do. Like, if you want to be teaching English in Japan, there's plenty of opportunities to do it, and different companies offer like different training and have different requirements for what they're looking for. So if you're willing to teach English and you can speak English, then you're probably fine. But I don't want to teach English anymore, so that makes it a bit more like you have to have some Japanese if you want to step out of the English teaching bubble sphere thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, but at the same time, if you were desperate, you always have opportunities.
If you are desperate being an English speaker, you can find a job.
Right, like
You can find a job. There's no problem.
Great. Okay, so what is the most interesting thing that you've done since coming to Japan?
Like originally, like back on JET, or since moving to Tokyo?
It is an open-ended question. You can answer however you'd like.
Well, in Tokyo, since people will be studying Tokyo, the most interesting thing I've done is I went and took like a hip-hop dance class.
Oh, okay.
So that was obviously like all in Japanese with like a Japanese speaking teacher and Japanese speaking like students. So that was really fun as a way to just like be using my Japanese in a non-classroom environment, just for like combining my love of dancing with like the love of using Japanese. So that was really interesting. And really fun. So I'd say like continue your hobbies in Japan, just do them in Japanese.
Of course. Okay. Oh, that sounds really good. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit more about your experience with Gogo Nihon and how you found out about us?
Well, I found out about it through a friend who heard about it from a professor at their university.
Okay.
So I used it, and I thought it was amazingly useful because essentially I didn't have to do anything but like give my information to people who know what they're doing.
Right.
Which is brilliant. I
Right,
think.
that's essentially,
that
in a
was-
nutshell, what we did.
Yeah, because like you guys helped me find which school I wanted, because I didn't know, there were like 9 different options, and
Right.
it was like, they all look like vanilla to me, I have no
Right.
idea. So that was super useful, because you looked at what my requests were, and like really were like, no, this is the school for you, and it really has been a really good fit, so
Right.
thank you.
Okay.
And then also like when it came to where I was gonna live,
Mm-hmm.
you guys like totally helped me find the company that helped me like find an apartment, and so I was all like set and ready to go before I even flew back to Japan.
Okay.
So there were no worries, no problems.
Okay, so positive experience?
Super positive experience for me.
Great. Okay, well, thank you very much. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to your questions. So if you'd like to have any of your questions answered, feel free to let us know, and we'll be back with your questions. All right, so we're gonna be answering your questions. Unfortunately, I can't see any of your questions that have been submitted within the past 15 minutes. So if you would like to resubmit your question, I can go ahead and answer them for you live right now. But what we can do is I can answer some of the questions submitted by Not Kim. Can this school technically count towards a degree? I know it's not a university, just curious. 2 of the schools that we offer actually do, if you finish their 2-year program, you do get your associate's 2-year associate's degree at the end of the program. And one of the best things about that is that you can actually use that 2-year degree to transfer into a 4-year university as a junior. So basically, you can go to 2 of our schools. It is Kansai College in Osaka and FFLC in Fukuoka. These 2 schools, if you complete their 2-year program, you can get your associate's degree, and then you can use that associate's degree to transfer into a 4-year university in Japan as a junior. we have a question here, not really a question, but someone saying that I'm trying to decide between Kansai College or Temple University. Basically, it really depends on what you're aiming for. Temple University, you do get your 4-year degree, but at the same time, their Japanese language program is not very good. To be completely honest with you, you do get your 4-year degree, but at the end of the program, your Japanese level is not going to be that great. So if you are trying to find a job in Japan, that isn't going to be able to help you, as if you went to language school and you did get, like JLPT N2 level or N1 level. And like I said about Kansai College, you can get your 2-year degree and transfer into a 4-year university if you so choose. What about vocational schools? Can you guys help me find a job to pay my tuition? Unfortunately, at this point, we only work with language schools, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future. We may be able to offer vocational schools or not. Unfortunately, in regards to tuition, you have to have that saved up before you come. Because even if you get a part-time job, you're only able to work 28 hours a week, which means that depending on what type of job you get, you are more than likely only going to be able to cover your living expenses. So tuition-wise, you're going to have that saved up before you come. And I work at a video game company. Is it possible to find a job like that in Japan? We actually do have some students that did end up working for video game companies after becoming fluent in Japanese. But we only help with helping you find the perfect language school so that you get to the level of fluency that you need, like the first step to the rest of your life in Japan. So if you want to find a job, for example, in a video game company, that's going to be completely up to you, but you have to be fluent in Japanese first. This is a pretty important question. Are there any schools Gogo Nihon works with that are FAFSA eligible for US students? Unfortunately, at this time, none of the schools are FAFSA eligible because they're not recognized by the US government. Because they're just language schools, they are the first step to whatever you want to do in Japan. You've got to learn the language, and then you move on to higher education. And then you move on to full-time employment. So this is just the first step in getting you fluent in the language first. What is the process of arrival at the airport? Is there someone at Gogo Nihon, Hotel First Night? Basically, we do not offer a pickup service, but we give you all of the information that you need to successfully get to your accommodation for the first night. We get you in direct contact with your housing agents, and they give you all of the necessary information that you are able to find your accommodation with no problems on the first night. All right, we have another question. Can you finish all of the language in 1 year only? It really depends on how, what level you start in. Basically, we highly recommend all of our students to take the full 2-year program. Because if you are going from a complete beginner level, you are not going to be able to master Japanese in 1 year. Because Japanese is actually one of the hardest languages to learn in the world. If you are coming to Japan from an intermediate level, for example, a JLPT N3 level, you can become JLPT N2 or possibly N1 in 1 year time. But if you are coming to Japan as a complete beginner, you are looking at over 1 year's period of study. Chris, can you tell me about Sapporo Language School? I think our video is really good about kind of showing exactly what the type of school the Sapporo school is. It is a great medium intensity school. It gives you a perfect balance between study and free time, and you get to live in a place where not a lot of foreign people choose to live. Sapporo is absolutely beautiful, especially during the snow festival month of February. Absolutely beautiful, and it doesn't get as hot during the summer months as, for example, Tokyo. If you know anything about summer in Tokyo, it gets really, really hot and humid. But in Sapporo, it's a lot milder, so if you do not like that type of humidity, highly recommend Sapporo. What would you recommend to have in your bank account when you go to Japan? It depends on how long you want to study. If you want to study for at least 6 months, in order to qualify for a 6-month visa, you have to have at least 1 million yen in your savings account as a current balance. It doesn't necessarily have to be your account. It could be in your financial sponsor's account, but that's pretty much the amount that you're going to be looking at if you are looking at studying for at least 6 months. I'm planning on going to a vocational school. What type of school is the best to learn Japanese? The best way that we can answer this question for you is if you contact us directly, so that we're able to get a lot more information about kind of what your plans are, what kind of vocational school you're looking for. Please go to our site, hit the contact button at the top, and send us an inquiry form, and we'll be able to help you out. So when is a good time to exchange dollars to yen? Yeah, I really can't answer that question for you because of the fluctuations in the exchange rate. It's going to be totally up to you. I personally would take advantage of the exchange rate because right now it's pretty good, but it might get better in the future. We just cannot say, and that's going to be totally up to you. Can the language school credits apply to your degree at home? Unfortunately, at this time, they do not. But like I said, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. We really want that to happen, to be able to for our schools to be eligible to give you credit. But at this time, unfortunately, we do not. Do you help us open a bank account or buy us cell phones, things like that? We give you all the information that's necessary, but actually the school helps you with that once you arrive. At the orientation on the first day, they tell you exactly, opening a bank account, getting a cell phone, getting your health insurance, things like that. All of that information is given to you at the orientation day on the first day that you arrive. This is a pretty important question. Can I apply to a school that is not on Gogo Nihon? Unfortunately, we only assist you with our partner schools. And like I said earlier on in the presentation, our partner schools are the best ones in Japan. You can be looking at all these different schools. You can go on Google, you can search best language school in Japan, and every single language school in Japan is going to say that they're the best. But because we work with a lot of different language schools and pretty much get constant feedback from all of our students, we can confidently say that our language schools are the best in Japan. The next two questions are going to be the last ones I answer. The first one is it easy for someone who has never been to Japan to be able to integrate into the culture? It really depends on you. I cannot answer this question for you, but it is very easy to be able to live in Japan because it's so safe. Things are open all the time, so on and so forth. It is very, very easy to live in Japan. And the last question that I'm going to answer today is, if I want to go into university after a language school, do I need to pay tuition? Of course, yeah, you have to take care, you are responsible for the tuition. But there are different scholarships that are available, such as the MEXT program, that do cover tuition fees for university if you apply and you get it. So there are different types of scholarships for higher education in Japan that are available for foreign students after they study Japanese. Okay, well, thank you guys very much for joining us today. If you have any other questions, feel free to go to our page, hit the contact button, send us an inquiry form, and we will, help you the best we can. So send us any other questions that you might have, and thank you guys very much for tuning in.